The SRL on the NFL. Previews, predictions, and analysis covering every storyline in football every week. The SRL on the NFL. What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to SRL on the NFL. This is week number 13 of the 2024 NFL season, and we're ready to bring you more analysis and our picks. My name is Brendan Yerkes, joined as always by Alex Faciaponte, and we're ready to go. Another week down. How we doing?
We're doing great. I mean, I'm looking forward to this week. We got some Turkey Bowl games, of course, for Thanksgiving, so it should be pretty hype. So let's get into it.
Thanksgiving, always a lot of fun. Yeah, last week you went, I believe, 8-4, and I think 8-5, and I went 9-4. So weird number of games. I think there was 6 teams on bye week, so that was
Weird.
interesting.
Yeah.
But I got one back, so you have the 1-game lead still after 12 weeks. So it's gonna go down to the wire. I got one back. You can't really trust who's gonna win. Like the we would think we would get more wins, but some of the teams that lost, just like, what are we doing here?
Right.
But before we get into it, I'll just plug our social medias. Follow us on Instagram and TikTok at srl.media. And let's do it. So let's start with the Thursday night game. The Pittsburgh Steelers, the Cleveland Browns. It's becoming our favorite part of this show. So we finally gave the Steelers what they wanted. We picked them, and then they lose to a Cleveland Browns team that has not been great at in a snowy game in Cleveland. Pretty crazy.
Yeah. Shout out Jameis. He had that funny interview going into the game, and he wasn't great, but he led his people to do enough. And yeah, maybe we should just pick Pittsburgh every week, because then they'll show what team that they really are. But I mean, yeah, like the Browns were able to get it done.
Yeah, I mean, Jameis just is a natural born leader, and I think that's kind of what did it. Nobody really had an outstanding game, but
No.
they chipped away at it, and they had a lead. Looks like they were going to blow it, but they get it back, and they seal the deal. So pretty crazy. Kansas City and the Panthers. This was actually much closer. I guaranteed last week that the Chiefs were winning this game.
Yeah.
I thought it would be by a lot more, but 30-27. Chiefs, I don't know if we should be concerned at all that they gave up this many points, but still like midway through the season, like, I guess working on some things. You're not going to be perfect every game. I mean, that Panthers offense has looked a little bit better since Bryce Young came back.
That's true, too. Yeah, the Panthers have definitely looked better as of late, but we're saying, like, is there concern with the Chiefs? They're still 10-1 at the end of the day.
They still won.
Right, like, it was an ugly win, per se, but, like, a win is a win in the NFL, and, like, it's hard to come by, like, all these wins together, and Casey's been doing it each week, so, yeah, I mean, it's a little bit concerning, because the Panthers aren't too great, but still, they pull out a win.
Yeah, I mean, Mahomes had a really good game, 269 passing yards, 3 touchdowns, high completion percentage, so, it's the defense there, but I think the defense usually figures it out at the right time. Shout out Noah Gray, 2 touchdowns in this game, a pretty good game for him.
There you go.
Same score, but the Vikings beat the Bears 30-27 as well. The Vikings getting back what they were doing. Sam Darnold, 330 passing yards. The Bears, however, did look better in this game. Caleb Williams had a nice step forward, but they're not able to pull it out.
Yeah, I just think at this point in the season, like, the Bears are just stumbling, and I think at this point, just try to look for some good individual performances, try to sneak out a couple random wins, and be annoying for those playoff teams or potential playoff teams that are trying to get in. Be a spoiler for them. But yeah, at least Caleb looked good this game. I feel like that's always a promise.
340 yards.
340 yards, which is great. A couple touchdowns, no picks either, which is good. And DJ Moore finally getting back involved with 106 receiving yards. So they need to get him going. And Keenan Allen finally is doing something. 86 yards, touchdown. He's just been awful this year, so it's nice to see him get involved.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head. They're not going to be a playoff team, but their whole division is at this point. Right. So, be a spoiler, have some good wins to look forward to. Hope your quarterback progresses because, again, still a lot of talent on that defense. Young offense, like, you have something you're building towards. And now I don't know if I thought they were going to be like on a fight for the playoffs ahead of this season. I didn't think they would make it. I had them just outside. So I think they're kind of in that same position like I thought they would be. And I think they're going to have a new head coach for next year. I think Eberflus is going to be gone regardless of what happens, just to get
Yeah.
some new blood, start fresh. I always thought that was a weird hire anyway. So yeah, if you could take some moral victories, even though those are never fun in the NFL, and then maybe pull out a few nice wins to close it out and be around like a 7 or 8 win team, I think that's a good building block forward for this Bears team that's been looking for consistency for a while now.
Yeah, definitely. I think, just looking for those moral victories and progressing from there. That would be great for them.
All right, so this was the biggest shock of the week, I think. The Tennessee Titans actually won. They beat the Texans 32-27, and I think, yeah, it was a good game for the Titans, but what are we going to say about the Texans? I mean, they've shown time and time again they are not consistent at all. Still, when they're good, they look really good, but there's been games where they just have not been able to figure it out. And are they just like a slightly above average football team? I think it just alludes to, are there not as many elite teams in the NFL as there used to be anymore?
I mean, that could be the case. Obviously, Diggs getting hurt, I feel like really did hurt what they could have potentially reached as a team. But I mean, to be fair, like this team had no expectations going into last year, and they completely overseeded those. I think it just gets harder when your team has expectations. It becomes completely different, and it's hard to live up to them. And I think like everyone thought the Texans would be a slam dunk, like elite team in the AFC, and they're a good team in the AFC. And again, that's still much, much, much better than what the franchise was in a couple years ago. So I think
Right.
fans will be okay with that. But yeah, I think it's just the too high of expectations going into the year.
And I think they have the quarterback. So, I mean,
Right.
and the
Just
wide
have it great.
receivers. Like, they have all the pieces. I think it's still just maybe they, yeah, like you said, overstepped where they were kind of trajecting to and kind of were a little ahead on the timeline.
Mm-hmm.
But again, still going to be a playoff team this year.
Yeah,
So we
definitely.
could see still some time to figure it out. And again, still a solid record on the season so far. So not too concerning, but still, I mean, again, it is a division game. So I guess you could look at it that way. You never know what's going to
Right.
happen. They have a little bit of bad blood, those two teams, based on moving from the past. Um, all right. The Lions beat the Colts 24-6. Nothing too crazy there. Lions just
Oh,
continue to be an offensive
common.
juggernaut. Defense shuts down the Colts offense, who hasn't been very good. They only looked very good the week before because they played the Jets.
Naturally.
Yeah, the Dolphins and the Patriots. Dolphins are way better. They're finding their stride. I don't know if it's going to be able to do anything, and they might be able to make a push for the playoffs. I think I said last week they're in the situation that everyone thinks that the Jets are in. Bad start, injuries, and then a chance to maybe run the table and make the playoffs. If anybody were to do it, it would be them. A lot of talent. Drake May still looking pretty decent in these games that he's played. Tua, really good, 4 touchdowns, 217 passing yards. Jalen Waddle, big game in this one, 144 receiving yards, 8 receptions, and a touchdown. So the Dolphins trending upward here, and another big win. Patriots aren't very good, so expected that one to happen. The Buccaneers and the Giants, 30-7 for Tampa Bay. The Giants they're just bad, and I've heard and what I've seen, it just looks like they're tanking. I mean, Baker Mayfield, no touchdowns in this game in the air, one on the ground, but yeah, he did the Tommy DeVito, almost 300 passing yards. He's been good, and we just like we expected. We thought this would be a bounce back game for the Bucs. They've been hit with some bad luck and a lot of injuries this year, but they're kind of pushing through. And Baker Mayfield just showing that effort. You know, there was that one play where he was just blocking all the way up the field.
Yeah, that was
He's
great.
just doing it all, and I think the Giants they've just given up.
They've given up, and I'm okay with that. Again, at the end of the day, I need them to have a top 3 pick in this draft to actually really build this team up. Obviously, when you cut ties with who you thought was going to be your starting guy, you got to just hit the reset button, find either a crazy talent in this draft, or maybe look towards a quarterback. I don't care what you do, just you got to find some talent, and I want them to lose basically every game for the rest
Yeah.
of the year.
Well,
Like
did we talk about Daniel Jones last week? I think it
I
happened
don't
after
think
we
so.
recorded.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
don't
so
think
he's gone, and that was crazy. I think it's the right move
it is. At the
for
end of
both
the day, it
parties.
is.
It's respectable for the Giants to be like, look, like we'll let you get a head start, go somewhere else instead of just kind of having you sit here and rot. But if
Right.
you want to stay, stay. If you want to leave, like we'll grant your release if that's what you want. And obviously he wanted it, get a fresh start. And then the Giants can just move on and be done with it. The money
Mm.
situation will be figured out still. I don't think it's as bad as people are saying. Like, they might have to take some sort of hit, but there's no way they're going to be competing next year. So it's not like it's going to make that big of a deal.
So from what I understand, it's like it could have been 22 million dead money deferred over 2 seasons if we had waited till the offseason, or it could have just been 22 million next year. So since they cut him before that deadline, it just becomes 22 million next year. But again, like you said, they're not competing anyway, so it's like not a big deal in
Yeah.
that sense. And then you get off the money instantly after the next year, and then don't have to worry about it. So I don't.
Yeah, Tommy DeVito gets banged up, wasn't very good. I just think that whole thing is just theatrics. Like, I don't know. He's a good guy, but I really just don't think he's very good.
Fair.
When he played his first game, I was watching. Obviously, they were playing the Jets, and they didn't prepare for him to go in the game. Like, they didn't let him throw the ball. I'm like, what? How is this guy on the roster? And that's why I thought it was like a joke to begin with, that he was the starter last year. Then they actually let him throw, and he was pretty decent. I was like, they literally had him run the entire game.
Correct.
It's like watching Navy
Or handoff. Yeah.
So the other follow-up I wanted to give to that, so you want the Giants to lose every single game the rest of this year, and they've been really bad.
Yep.
What does that mean for Brian Daboll in your eyes?
So, I mean, I'm having mixed opinions on it, but I think where I'm standing right now, I would like for both the GM Schoen and Dable to come back. I want to see what things would look like with them with their own quarterback that they want and they want in the draft.
But then again, they're the ones fronting the tank, though, so to speak. Like, it looks like nobody cares.
Right, but remember last year, Schoen was really interested in trying to trade up for Daniels, and then that didn't end up working out. I want to see at the end of the day, like, what would things be like if they drafted their own quarterback?
Yeah, that's true.
If that ends up not working out, then yeah, clear house, whatever. I don't care. But I think also, just because Dable did win Coach of the Year relatively recently, people forget about that. He's not a bad coach. It's just, they just have not looked good. But
is he like Rex Ryan? He was better when he was fat.
Yeah, like Ozempic, Dable. Yeah, probably may need to put on some lbs to get some wins, but I don't know.
Well, keeping it in the NFC East, the Cowboys and the Commanders put on a classic on Sunday. Probably one of the craziest games that I have ever seen, to be honest. So there was in this game a punt return for a touchdown, a blocked field goal, a missed field goal, a missed extra point, an onside kick return for a touchdown, and a blocked punt. I think I covered them all.
Pretty much, yeah.
Along with all the other, passing touchdown, rushing touchdown stuff that happened in this game. So, wow. And the crazy part is the Cowboys with the upset. And I think that Washington's in a similar situation, as we said, with Houston, although if you take away last year. But I think they way overachieved early in the year with a lot of veterans, and I think their rookies are kind of still figuring it out. Jaden Daniels kind of hit a plateau. This was a nice bounce-back game for him, but just overall, I still think they're a good team, and we'll see. I think they're going to make the playoffs and get in as a wild card, and they're going to be trending in the right direction, but they've come down to earth.
Yeah, no, they definitely come down to earth. 7-5. I mean, it's still a pretty solid record. Like, again, it's not like, oh wow, because I think they started off 7-2. It's not like 7-2 crazy, but still 7-5 for a rookie quarterback and no really expectations with this team.
Right.
You got to take that at the end of the day, and I still think that they're going to make the playoffs.
I think so too.
But yeah, I mean, they're not looking great right now, but every team has their own cold stretches, so I think that they'll find their way out of it.
Another good game for Terry McLaurin. I mean, most of the yards were on that one play
True.
at the end with the missed extra point, but it's like, you got to be kidding. Of course, the Cowboys, because you're a Cowboys fan, you're in the same situation as the Giants. Like, do we want to win or do we want to get a better draft pick? Because
I think you want to lose. Yeah,
everybody's hurt, and then you're like, well, then they're winning, and then you blow it, and you're like, oh, we can't lose in this fashion, and then they missed the extra point. It's just
right.
It's crazy. Cooper Rush, no interceptions, 247 yards, 2 touchdowns. So I don't know. You said we're getting a random Cooper Rush game, but we'll see him on Thursday on Thanksgiving. So we'll see. That'll be fun. The backup injured Cowboys against the terrible Giants.
It should be fun.
While we eat our turkey. Denver, another big win, 29-19 over Vegas. I don't think much there. Denver's been pretty solid this year, and they're full and alive for the playoff hunt. They're 7-5, so they're in it to win it. If they had that win over Kansas City, that would have been huge for them going forward. But I think if they can get to 10 wins, I think that would be enough to put them over the edge. But we will see. This one was surprising. We both had different opinions on this one. Green Bay absolutely torched the 49ers 38-10. And I think when we made our picks, we were under the impression Brock Purdy was playing. I think I'm going to
Yeah.
give you that. Brandon Allen was in. 49ers have been banged up all year, have struggled to get going offensively, and that showed again. Green Bay hitting their stride, offense really good. We know since that game against the Lions a few weeks ago where they got their teeth kicked in, I think they've been a lot better. I think that motivated them a little bit, but Brandon Allen was okay, nothing really crazy. McCaffrey couldn't get anything going. The run game was non-existent. But Jordan Love, okay game. It's more the rushing game. Josh Jacobs, 3 touchdowns, over 100 yards, and that kind of took them to victory. So Green Bay pushing forward in the right direction. They're going to be a playoff team. And
of course, yeah.
Yeah, they're looking solid right now.
The thing is that are the Niners going to make playoffs? I don't know.
At this rate, no. Because think about it. If the Lions make it and they win that division, right, the North,
Yeah.
and we said the Vikings and Packers are probably both going to make it, that's 2 of the 3 wild cards. And I think at this point, only one NFC West team is probably going to get in.
But to be fair, they're only 1 game out of the NFC.
Division.
Yeah.
Right. So, I mean, I think that's the only way they get in. I think the winner of that division is going to get in and nobody else.
Yeah.
The NFC South, the winner of that division is going to get in and nobody else.
Yeah.
So,
definitely.
And I think the NFC East, it's going to be the Eagles are going to win, obviously, at this point.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think the Commanders, if they can win a few more games, they're going to take the last spot. Now that's your 3 wild cards. Now, obviously, I'm not a wizard and I can't predict anything, but just that's the way I think it's lining up at this point.
Yeah. Yeah, it's tough. It's crazy. It's crazy to think about.
Yeah, but the 49ers just not usually it's they'll figure it out. They'll figure it out. Well, it's getting late. And they haven't figured it out. Again, I get they're banged up, but something's got to give.
Right. If they want any shot at the playoffs, yeah, they got to get some go now.
Yep. All right, Seattle beat Arizona 16-6. I think tough game for Kyler. At least I saw that pick 6 kind of changed the whole game. Wasn't a very high scoring one, and that kind of threw it away. His overall stats, other than that, like he had a lot of passing yards, but struggling to score, and that one pick 6 ended up to be costly. So they've been solid. Just you're going to lose here and there, especially divisional games. So tough one for them. Sunday night game, the Eagles and the Rams. Eagles were the way better team, and I think that showed. Saquon Barkley is just a absolute beast, and he might win the MVP this year, honestly. It would not shock me.
Running back winning MVP.
He could.
Wow.
He had 255 rushing yards in this game.
Yeah.
They talk about how being an 1,000-yard rusher is like a big deal in a season, right? That's a quarter of it.
Yeah, it's kind of like not as like it's good, but like not at how.
Well, it's not like huge anymore, but it's still like if you're a good running back, you get to 1,000 yards.
Yeah, you get your 1,000. Yeah.
And AJ Brown, good game, touchdown, a lot of yards. Like they are the opposite of last year where they were slow. Like they started out hot and just fell apart.
Right.
They started out kind of okay, and they are just an absolute machine right now. The defense is locked down. The offense is firing on all cylinders. And yeah, Saquon Barkley, man. I mean, we always knew he was good, and you know firsthand that he was good. But this year he's healthy. He's in an offense with a lot of talent, better line, and he has just shown out. It's crazy to watch.
It was crazy to see. But yeah, I mean, I knew he had it in him. I just didn't know if he would stay on the field, and he's staying on the field. So that's the important thing. He's
refreshed. Obviously, it's got to be tough to play for a team like the Giants when they're not winning and there's all this turmoil and stuff like that. But now he's gotten the show, and I get why the Giants didn't sign him. I don't think it's I think it's just
a tough situation.
A tough situation that he ended up going to a division rival because it's like, all right, he's leaving, but what is he going to really do? It's like having it's like that meme where there's the Ferrari at the crappy house,
Yeah.
Exactly. It doesn't change anything. What, you win one more game if you have Saquon Barkley?
Okay.
It doesn't do anything. It's just tough that he went to the Eagles. So I think there was just more the situation they were in from the Jones contract and whatever. But he's really good. It's a lot of fun to watch. And I think we both expected them to win that game.
Yep.
And the Harbaugh battle on Monday night, the Ravens take it 30-23. Quentin Johnson 3 drops for the Chargers. Big story of the night. So not ideal there.
Quentin Johnson, Lord.
But the Ravens keep on churning. Not their best game, but they still score 30 points and find a way to win. So that's really where it matters. And just keep getting those wins and churning forward. All right, let's make our picks. We got a lot of a weird schedule this week. the 3
Yep.
Thursday games for Thanksgiving, Black Friday, and then your regular Sunday, Monday slate. Before we do that, check out our social medias at srl.media on Instagram and TikTok. This podcast can be found on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube for the video version. Let's do it, starting with the day game on Thanksgiving. It's the Bears and the Lions. The Lions always are the hosts. And this game, I feel like I've seen it so many times. I feel like the Bears used to win, but now the Lions are too good. But yeah, they're just rolling. There's not being stopped, and I'm not picking against them for any reason whatsoever. Give me Detroit.
Yeah, there's not really much to say. It's just Detroit right now, and I would be picking Detroit over most teams anyway. But yeah, the Bears are just in a negative direction. The Lions are in a positive direction. Just yeah, give me Detroit.
And I'm hoping for an exciting game because, like we
Me
said, the
too.
Bears put up a good fight last week. So
That'd
I
be
think
fun.
they still have the talent there to make this a competitive game. I feel like the Lions have been in non-competitive games the last few weeks.
Just
They've
'cause
been
how
just
good they've been.
mauling everybody. So this could be a good little test for them to get a hungry division rival. Giants and Cowboys, another typical Thanksgiving game. Give me the Cowboys. I mean, the Cowboys haven't been great, but they won last week. The offense actually showed me something, and now they're playing the Giants. I think this is not going to be close at all. I think the Cowboys are going to dominate this game. They're at home. Cooper Rush coming off his best game of the season. Yeah.
I think this is the Cooper Rush legacy game that's loading. I think
Beating last week.
no, yeah, beating last week. I'm
Yeah.
talking 300 yards, 3 touchdowns or something crazy, no picks. I think he's just gonna go crazy this game. I think the Giants, yeah, all of this lines up for a Giant loss, especially if from what I'm seeing they're trying to roll out DeVito out there even though he is injured. So I just
So
feel
then
like
if he's not, it's going to be Drew Lock, right? It's just going back to Daniel Jones, essentially.
pretty much. I mean, but the thing is, what do you call it? But yeah, so DeVito already didn't look good last week, and now you're going to roll him out there with an injury. I just feel like it's just a recipe for disaster. So yeah, give me the Cowboys.
And the night game, it is the Dolphins and the Packers. It's at Lambeau. I like how both teams have looked. Honestly, this is a good game. Thanksgiving night. After the middle one might not be so much fun, but I'm gonna roll with the Packers. I like how they've been looking. They're at home, so I think that's gonna give them the slight edge. Lambeau at night in November, I think, and especially against Miami, a team that usually plays in the warmer weather. That'll come into a factor a little bit, but yeah, out of two teams that are offenses are looking good, I'm gonna take the home team here in Green Bay.
I'm going to be going with the upset. I'm going to be going with Miami. I think that they've looked really good as of late with 3 solid victories. I mean, against kind of ant teams, but you got to get your momentum somewhere. And if they win this game and being 6-6, they're right back in the playoff race.
Yep.
And again, I know that the Packers have looked really good, but for some, it's more of a feeling too. I just have a feeling that I think Miami's gonna go crazy this game. So give me Miami.
Yeah, I don't think it's that crazy of an upset. I know the record's 5-6 to 8-3,
Right.
but I think based on the way both teams are playing, I think it's pretty even. The Black Friday game this year, Raiders and the Chiefs. Raiders have been okay, but I'm taking Kansas City again. I know Kansas City's kind of not playing their best football right now, but we're still gonna pick them every single week.
Can I just hit the snooze button on this game? This is
Yeah,
gonna
the
be a snore
Black
fest.
Friday game. It's crazy work.
And at 3 o'clock, this is just gonna be an absolute snooze fest. Give me the Chiefs by a million.
At least the Jets aren't on Black Friday this year.
That would be tough. But
When
yeah,
the
Chiefs,
Fail Mary, or what do they call it?
right? Yeah,
The Hell Mary.
right.
That was so bad.
It's just there's not really much analysis here. It's just the Chiefs are much better and they're home too. Just give me the Chiefs.
Yeah, I agree. All right, Chargers and Falcons. I don't know. I haven't seen too much going on with the Falcons lately. They're pretty average. The Chargers lost Monday, but again, still a lot to like there. So I'm going to roll with LA.
I'm gonna be going with Atlanta because for some reason every other week they look sick, and I feel like they look bad. Well, they look bad obviously against Denver the last time that they played. And I feel like now they're gonna look sick again. So they keep flip flopping. I think that also that they're home as well. I think plays a big factor for me. So give me Atlanta.
Yep, feel that. Pittsburgh and Cincinnati. Bengals are the home team. The Steelers coming off of that loss last week, and I don't know. I hate picking these Steelers games. I don't know what to do anymore. But I'm gonna go with the upset in the Bengals. I feel like it's a division game. I think that the home teams now seems like a factor for us this week. And Burrow's been better. They've been playing really well on offense, and I think that the defense has been the problems. But now going against this Steeler offense that has had trouble punching the ball in the end zone, I think it's a favorable matchup, division game, so anything could happen. So I'm going to take the Bengals here at home.
I'm going to take the Bengals here as well. I just think, of course, though, now the Steelers are going to win.
Oh, absolutely.
Steelers are going to win now 9-3, so don't worry about it, Steelers fans, if you're complaining. Because you guys like to complain against us, but it's fine. But regardless, I think that Burrow is probably going to put up a lot of points. This Cincy offense has looked really good, even though they haven't been winning games. But like you say, I think it's a more favorable matchup for Cincinnati, so give me the Bengals at home.
Yeah, it's random how that works out. Cardinals and Vikings, it's in Minnesota. They've been firing on all cylinders as well. Arizona slump game last week, so I'm going to ride with the Vikings at home here.
Yeah, I just think that the Vikings have just been the much better team all year, and they're at home. So, yeah, give me the Vikings.
All right, Colts and Patriots. I'm going to ride with the Colts. They're on the road. I'm going to ride with Indianapolis, I think, after last week, even though it wasn't great. But, I'm rolling with them.
Yeah, I'm going to be going here with the Colts as well. Obviously, New England has looked kind of decent under May, but the Colts are just a better football team at the end of the day. So, yeah, just give me the Colts.
Okay, Seattle and the Jets. It's at MetLife. Give me Seattle. I mean, I'm not picking the Jets anymore.
Yeah, I don't see myself picking the Jets for the rest of the year pretty much. But the Seahawks have looked really good recently, winning against San Francisco and the Cardinals, like two divisional opponents. So I think that they're going to come in with some swagger and probably have a pretty easy victory here. But yeah.
We'll see. Tennessee and Washington. Washington needs a bounce back. Tennessee won last week, but give me the Commanders. They need it.
They do need it. They haven't looked good, obviously, as of late. But if this isn't the team to bounce back to, like I couldn't tell you what.
Yeah, they didn't even look horrible last week. It was just the timely moments, like, of things that happened.
And then like the missed kick and all that. So again,
Right.
like it's just this is the team to bounce back to. You got to win this one. It's a gimme win. So yeah, give me the Commanders.
Yeah, and same thing for this game, Houston and Jacksonville. It's in Jacksonville, but the Texans need to bounce back after losing to that Tennessee team, so give me the Texans here.
Yeah, give me the Texans here as well. There's not really much more to say. Just Jacksonville hasn't been good, and Houston desperately needs this one because they just have not looked good this past month.
All right, Houston. We already said that one. The Rams and the Saints. Rams. Saints haven't looked good since the first 2 weeks of the season. The Rams, tough game against the good Eagles team last week. Offense was still looking pretty decent, so I think that's going to continue. And against a team like New Orleans, it's going to bring more success. So give me the Rams.
Yeah, I'll be going with the Rams here as well. I just think New Orleans just has been bad through and through. And yeah, the Rams were just in a tough matchup last week. So yeah, give me the Rams.
All right, Buccaneers and Panthers. Panthers played the Chiefs well, but I'm going to take the Buccaneers. Offense looked good against the Giants. It's going to be a close game here, I think. But I'm going to give it to Baker Mayfield to pull it out, go with the better quarterback in this one.
Yeah, I'll be going with Baker here as well. I just think that he's just a better quarterback, obviously, than Young at this point, even though Young has obviously looked pretty decent as of late. And yeah, the Panthers are home, but I just think Tampa's going to try to make some type of playoff push, and I think it started last week, and it's going to continue here. Give me the Bucks.
This is probably the best game of the week. Eagles and Ravens, 4:25 p.m. And it's tough. Both teams won last week, but I think I'm riding with the Eagles here on the road. It's going to be a tough environment, but that offense is just unstoppable. I mean, the rushing attacks on both these teams are crazy. Two mobile quarterbacks, but I think when it comes down to it, the Eagles have been more consistent on offense this year when they've needed those big plays. And even though it's a hostile environment, they've shown they could win anywhere. So I'm going to take the Eagles.
I'm going to be going with Baltimore here. I think that the hostile environment may be a little too much for them, and just playing against the Ravens on the road is just always a tough task. Uh, I think if it was in Philly, I would pick Philly, but I'm really just going for the home crowd here. I just think that's going to play a big role, and obviously both teams are playing really good right now. But give me Baltimore.
All right, Sunday Night Football, 49ers and Bills. Going with the Bills. 49ers haven't figured it out, and I don't know if they're going to figure it out because now getting Buffalo the week after losing last week is just a tough one to swallow, especially after getting blown out. So Bills been playing really well. They had a bye week. They come back, so I think that's an easy pick for me.
I will say, even though I am going Buffalo here, I do think that the game is going to be really close because thinking about it objectively, this could basically be the Niners like season on the line. Like you lose this game, you basically would have to go perfect the rest of the year to have a chance, and that's not even a full guarantee either. So I don't know. I do think the game's going to be really close, but I will be going Buffalo.
Yeah, if they lose, they're 5-7, and then they'd have to go 10-7 to have any resembling chance. Actually, but maybe not because their division. If they could maybe be one of those bad divisions where maybe only 9-8 will be the winner, but you can't really bank on that for success. And Monday Night Football, not really a great game. Cleveland and Denver. Denver's at home. They're actually been playing pretty well this year. Bo Nix has really settled in and been consistent, not trying to do too much. So I'm going to ride with Denver.
Yeah, I just think this Denver team just has an identity now.
They're just scrappy.
Defense, game managing quarterback, like just solid enough. And yeah, I just think, yeah, I'm going Denver here. There's not really much to say other than that, but yeah.
Very consistent. And that's going to do it for week 13 of SRL on the NFL. Thank you so much for tuning in. My name is Brendan Yerks, and as always, was joined by Alex Faciaponte. Make sure to check us out on social media at srl.media on Instagram and TikTok. Find this podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube for the video version. Once again, I'm Brendan Yerks. This is episode 13 of SRL on the NFL. Thank you so much for tuning in.